Good evening again to all of our viewers out there. We want to say thank you very much for tuning in to my Lutheran Connections Live. Today is a wonderful day. You know, the Bible says those that wait upon the Lord, He will renew their strength. So, the long-awaited special guest, our long-awaited special guest, is here with us today, in person of Mother Naomi Ford Wilson. I'm sorry, Wilson. She serves so many positions in our church administratively. Currently, she's the general secretary of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. But today we have with us our dear brother Batam Abel Lewilly. He's joining us from the state of Connecticut. Um, and also we have our ambassador. He's joining us from our studios there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. We're not going to take much of your time. We're going to go straight into our program. We're going to be flying straight to Freetown, Sierra Leone to join our ambassador, who is sitting pretty tight in studio to lead us through this evening. Again, want to say thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for joining us. And we say please stay tuned and have a wonderful, wonderful good evening with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Willie. And I also want to say thank you to our illustrious guest, our big sister, Sis Naomi Ford Wilson. I want to extend our appreciation on behalf of the set. Again, we want to say we are so honored to have you as our guest today. This platform, my Lutheran Connection, discusses everything Lutheran, and we try to ensure that we seek or we secure the facts beyond emotions, and we are very frank, and we try our possible best to ensure that we allow Lutherans in Liberia and outside Liberia to understand what is happening with the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And if we want to discuss the Lutheran Church in Liberia, we want to discuss the intricacy of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, there is no better person to invite to give a detail, an insight, the in total of the Lutheran Church than our mother, our big sister, Naomi Ford Wilson. We want to say thank you so much. And we also want to say, Brother Dewelly, you changed the venue of the studio. We want to say thank you so much. This time we're going to have a stable internet. Sister Naomi Ford Wilson, can you just give us a brief overview of who is this beautiful mother, big sister Naomi Ford Wilson, and a little small background of yourself, and then we can go into the substantive issue later on.
Okay, thank you. I'm Naomi Ford Wilson. I have worked with the Lutheran Church in Liberia since 1995. I'm married. I have my kids. Educational wise, I'm still pursuing, but I have a degree in management, an LLB, and I'm currently pursuing my LLM. And administratively, I've been a while here for a while, so I've done some, training administration as well. And like you're talking about the men, I've worked with a lot of you because, the Lutheran Church has a lot of male pastors. So I'm used to working with you. And I love developing people and I love learning from people as well. So I'm happy to be here. I know that you have been wanting to hear from me for a long time. You directly and indirectly invited me, but you may also know that I'm very busy, but I saw the need to come, especially at the time that you are calling me to come. I saw that this time is very, very critical, no matter how busy I may be, for the fact that you want to know about the church. And even for the fact that I have decided now to just step down and give space to others to come. I think it's about time too that I honor your request. And so I'm hoping that I will have some time to come as frequent as you may want me. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, big sis Naomi for Wilson. May I ask, what really underpinned your stepping down? What was the motivational factor or the driving force? I mean, you're still looking young, you're still looking energetic, you and then you want to step down. Why? What was the rationale behind that?
Yeah, you see, the body is fooling a lot of us. And what we sometimes tend to ignore is knowing our bodies. You know, a lot of us are ignoring that. And I mean, it's just saddening that you will just hear that this person has collapsed. And you are like, say, oh, that person was looking so healthy, you know. And so that's me. Like a police guy, one of the best guys that I've loved over the years, standing right there in Vatam. Many times I pass by him and just, drop whatever little I can. It's unimaginable that, I mean, I think just last week or so that we just got that information that he dropped while on duty. So knowing my own, what should I say, outbreaking in this Lutheran church in Liberia, I have devoted so much time that I always want to see, I want to be a go-getter. So I know how much I overwork myself. And the body has kept telling me that you need to rest, you need to rest, you need to rest. And I'm ignoring. And so I saw that this administration was coming to an end. In fact, you may already know that there was a time that I decided to just grow, because it wasn't that something happened between Bishop Harris and I. And he knew that, because I sat with him and I talked with him. And I told him, he knew that I didn't have, besides him, I didn't have supervisor. I just wanted to just grow. So I emptied myself to him, I cried, and he saw, the genuineness in what I was telling him, and he saw that it was reasonable. So in fact, he called for a party. Everybody was thinking why he should honor me when I'm even saying I'm leaving. So when he was about to step down or get retired, he's the same person who sent people and eventually cried on me, I will say, because he himself had to get involved. And I know how much time I have put in over the last 10 years. I know that I've had no time for even my family. So I wouldn't want to be deceitful to anyone who could come in and say that I wouldn't want to give that same time, that same devotion. So even before election period was near, I was singing this song to Bishop Senklu, and he was not understanding. So he's like telling me to give the justification for my decision. I had to write a whole page or two to just tell him, to convince him what I was saying, because he was not understanding. And I told him it's a constitutional issue. He was not really understanding the constitutional nature. I said, I don't want to take a decision when the church has already gone through convention. So it's good to carry to the executive council for discussion. And that's how it all started. The first discussion was held in July last year. And from there, it went on until eventually in January, executive council endorsed. And I said, I was just sick. I'm sick in the body. I just wanted some time to rest. And so I needed retirement from there, and council endorsed that. So it's nothing special. And I have given my time, I have written, and I'm continuing to say it helped me while I'm still looking like you are seeing me. so that as I'm coming on the stage, you will hear from me what you want to hear, rather than I lying down and you really want to call me up here, you cannot get me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Naomi. We pray that God keep you healthy, and keep you strong, because you're a resource person. We show that we still need you around to give us a lot of information, especially for the 10-year span you have spent working for the church. It's no small time. I mean, people like the ones that we need around. But the topic for today is the spiritual affairs of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. We want to assess the past. We want to look at the present, and we want to gauge your opinion on what you envision future, and probably perhaps give us your recommendation. So we are now gradually getting into the substantive nature of the discussion, and so I would turn the pendulum over to my colleague Abel Iweli to go with his first question.
Thank you very much, Wele. Once again, Sis Naomi, you are welcome. As we have
Thank
the
you.
broad topics, looking at the state of affairs, that is retrospecting the past, looking into the present and the prospects of the LCL. I want to quickly come off, and I will begin my question with this whole issue of reconciliation. It got to do with growing up in this church. To be specific, knowing myself very much in the church, in Sunday school, and eventually, um, before even the Civil War, I saw this level of unity within the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Being a child growing up in Zaza at St. John's Lutheran Church, I could see the kind of a cohesiveness that existed among Lutherans. And as I walked through the line, I saw this also even during the Civil War, up to the finishing of the war and so forth. Lutherans were always Lutherans up there for each other. But today we see that there's so much division within the church. The church is so much divided to the extent that when you stay, you don't even want to identify yourself as a Lutheran. To look at the past, would you mind just commenting on those factors that hold us together in the past, and those factors that making us to be so much divided today? Maybe that would be my first question. I don't know if you could address that first, then I will come with the second, and then we can go
Yeah,
with
that would be
Willie.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abel. Like you rightly said, the Lutheran Church in Liberia has been a unified church. We all have sweet memories of all of the funds we had together or we shared. So as we retrospect our youthful days, all we remember is fun. But I saw this church division as far as I can remember. It all started from 2004 elections. That's how far I can remember. I know that the war came and all of that, and in fact, I joined this office during the war period, and how did I even join because of that unity? I have come from. I was still in school. In fact, I just graduated and I was in computer science, doing secretarial science in computer school, and I'm like graduated and didn't have anything much to do. I'm just getting a small. Can I come to help right after graduate? I mean, right after the consecration. I'm like saying I want to volunteer, and because of that unity, I mean, we all saw ourselves like other father and child or brother and sister and all of that, and that's a unity we saw even after the war. So elections, and I think it's all because the church was closed yesterday. I want to believe that because the church was closed, although the ministers were around, but many persons may not have really understood the body politics of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So with Bishop Harris coming on in 1995 and opening up, began to open up and inviting almost everyone on board. You saw, you know that you were one of the young executive members at the time, meaning you participated in executive council. So the way he opened up the expansion of districts and this representation at the executive council level, so many persons were becoming to understand the workings of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and by extension, everyone wanted to taste power. So you and I know how the 2004 election went. You know the rest of the story because you were around. And I saw that even after that election, although there were reconciliatory discussions around, but I saw that the marks remained and just amplified in 2008. You won't know the rest of them because you were at LTR. At least I was busy taking care of the Archbishop of Sweden and his guests. But the rest of you that were at LTR, but before even we went to LTR, Abel, you know what happened on this compound. I mean, and so what I started to see there was just ingratitude. Because everything that happened in 2008 was like you, Abel, and myself working together, and you know what I have done for you, or I know what you have done for me, and I'm looking your face and telling you did nothing, or you looking my face and telling me you did nothing. And that was the kind of hate messages that were going around. People went to the extent of sending those messages to partners. And I think that's where the division even grew bigger. So 2012, Bishop Senko taking over, it was no joyful thing. Although he took over, but he took over a broken relationship, between ministers, between laity, and all of that. So the first initiative ever, and all of you may remember, was again reconciliation. Reconciliation everywhere. I remember it was just everywhere. When we took over, besides the reconciliation talk at the various parishes or among ministers, even our institutions, you were with trauma healing, and you know that one of the first visits was at Phoebe. Phoebe Hospital staff were standing and striking and just hostile, and they did not want to listen to anybody because they said they had this identity crisis and they just wanted to know who they were. That was one of the first initiatives. You know what was happening at our current hospital, at our own hospital. You knew about it, that Konowa case, what it left there, the marks it left there. Even at the parish level in Zozo, where who was there by then? Reverend Wheeler was there. And even here in the congregation again, we had to be talking. So it was just everywhere. But we were thankful. And I'm thankful that the church has been stable and it is still stable. So it is just this election. People will have issues and will always have issues. And I know that people have had issues. But this election, again, just multiply more of those emotions that we have had. But I'm glad that the church also have reasonable people who stood with the church, who stood and said that the church cannot be broken. No one person owns the LCL. We all do. So the church stood, and the church is still standing. So we have a stable church. These issues will always come about. There were issues, yes, but as far as I'm concerned, those issues that came out have not divided our church. So our church is stable, if I want to say that. Thank you.
Abel, your second said Naomi got a lot on her plate.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
one question
yeah.
you have to
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. My second question will still just follow parallels to what previously asked. When you were talking, you strike one important point that serving as a major factor for the division within the church. You mentioned the issue of elections. So I was saying, but elections shouldn't be something to divide us, because when you talk about democracy, it's about people expressing their views and opinions about issues, right? Uh, but I know very well when it comes to divisions, and there are a couple of factors. When one group of people within a specific locality feel that they are being marginalized, for example, when few group of people hold on to the national case, take for instance the LCL, staying in power for the very longer period of time, being circulated, for example. I'm fully understand that some of the pastors and they graduated from GST, they took rural assignment. They have never had the opportunity for those assignment to be changed. I'm also cognizant that some people in the urban area who have continued to serve in upper positions of the church, they remain there. Sometimes they become a real sack of personality. They move from one leadership to the next. Take, for instance, you and I went to GST and we graduated with a bachelor's degree. And I took an assignment in the rural area, and you remain in the urban area. You kept me in that rural community for maybe 15 years or 20 years. You know, these are some of the things that we see that could bring division within the church. When other people feel that others are not very important to the discussions, to the development and growth of the church, and sometimes they turn to ignore them. So my question quickly, now naming all of those factors, Sis Naomi, have you, in your administrative position, have you observed anything of such nature just besides election?
Even you are just saying the truth, but what I want to say is that human being is just hard to be satisfied. We are hard to be satisfied in a way that we will say this is not right, and when you try to do the right, sometimes there becomes another problem. The issue of assignment, the decision about assignment, there are pastors listening to me. Years before even this administration came, Bishop Harris saw that need, that it was important for pastors to rotate. And I will not remember the exact convention, but I know that it was even a conventional resolution where where it was agreed that every 2 years, in fact, pastors should be rotated. And maybe you may not know, but I'm telling you that the very pastors that call for that, when the actions were about to be started, they were the same people that said, 2 years is nothing. When you assign me to this place, within 2 years, I'm just trying to settle in. So, until today's date, that resolution never worked. Bishop Senko again tried to put in, I don't know whether the BMT is looking at that closely, but he tried to modify that same policy so that pastors will stay at a particular parish for X number of years, and beyond that year, they should, the board should find another place. I would not be able to quote the wordings correctly, but I can tell you that there has been a modification to that policy. It's only the responsibility of the BMTA to ensure that it works. And that is one of our major problems, policy. So the BMTA has a lot of work, Abel. The BMTA must ensure that the policies that ought to be developed to govern not just minister, but the Lutheran Church in Liberia. meaning you and I, the laity. The Constitution gives a lot of authority to the BMTA. That's the Board of Ministry, Theology, Evangelism, and Adjudication. Imagine, adjudication was not even there years ago. They added adjudication. So they had to develop the policy and code of conduct that will govern you and I, so that even you, not just ministers, but even you and myself, will have our limits and will also have our rights. But that is the word, and we all have the responsibility. I have spoken with Ray Marquet several times because I know that I think he was the head of that policy committee. That was one of the first committees that Bishop Harris, Bishop Anglo's regime or leadership ever put in place. The committee that was responsible to have drawn up a code of conduct or some policy that will guide especially the ministers, worship service and all those things. And you just talking about even assignment. Some of you will see that the worship pattern, you go to some parishes, I mean, you are lost. So I'm just saying, yes, these are general concerns, but I think we all have responsibility, and there should come a time that we all try to join the ministers. I have been telling them, and again, sometimes laugh, I say, there is need, we will just confine people in a room, those are also who know what is what, and we'll just, help you not to draw these things up, because it's not drawing, so it's causing a lot of problems. So yes, we need to help them. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, we very keen prepared. As I listen to some of the colleagues in Liberia in the secular system, they say you keen. I can see how you are verbose. I can see how you are expatiating, and you really got the issues to your feet, and that is the reason why we are surely going to miss you. If I ask a very critical question, you mentioned the church being stable. Even though you stated that there are some policy issues, you also stated that elections have been a factor, and it has become an indicator in the just ended election, where we saw that some people are going ill. And now I find it difficult to reconcile stability with all of the different indicators that point to divisiveness, as was mentioned. I don't know if you want to still have the time to clarify when you say the church is stable. What do you mean? We got reform issues. We are not got there. It's good that you're a lawyer. So we're going to dig deeper into that and take a deeper dive, so we know what is on people, especially not the reforms that we're taking. Now we'll be moving on to the present and then the prospects. But let us stay in the past a bit and just clarify when you say the church is stable, yet pointing to all of those lacunas, all of those instability, all of those sickness and signs that bring about divisiveness. When you talk about stability, how can you reconcile that?
Okay. Again, going back to elections, I'm very glad that this Bonn Convention was able to take an action that will help to address this election issue. So the resolution taken over there by the recommendation of the bishop, which was modified by the very convention, is that henceforth, the ministers, meaning the pastors themselves, will go in their own little corner at the expiration of this leadership or any future leadership. Go in that corner, just maybe they have not, that's the modification, they have not identified the exact period, whether it will be like a month or two before convention, but just before the convention, the ministers will go and among themselves elect. They will elect, once you ask, I need to go back, but should be like 2 or 3%. I think it's 2. If I'm not making mistake, if it is not 2, there will be at most 3, but I think it's 2. Ministers or pastors, they will elect those pastors. It is where you and I as laity will have, the right now to participate in that process. So they carry the two, and you and I will not know who the two are, except they come again, disclose their own secret to us. But you and I will not know who those pastors are. So at the floor of the convention, maybe a day to the election, that's when you and I are going to know who those two are. So I hope it's going to address that part of it, so that this time that we have to run campaign and sending all the hate messages against each other, I hope that aspect with this new decision, I hope that decision is going to address that aspect. Coming back to the stability, the law itself, if you take a decision, if it is a decision that you, the majority, will trust, even if it goes against a person who may not agree at that time, but realizes that they have been punished or even sentenced for a genuine cause, the families or the family members and relatives of that person may all be aggrieved, but eventually they will understand what our decision is taking. So recent time, yes, we know all of the things that happened recent time. And you know what is also bringing, earlier on, everyone was talking about all of the good time we have. Why has everything changed? It's because we are no more truthful to each other. We are too ungrateful to each other. We are too deceitful to each other. I mean, it's just unbelievable that I will look straight in your eyes and say the wrong things about you that I got no idea of, maybe just perception or petty jealousy or whatever, and make them to appear to the public that I'm saying the truth. Pray for power, and then when we come there, then maybe we may start to sing the song differently again. So what I can suggest to us, Lutheran Church, I always tell people, we have a lot of strength. But what we are lacking as members is that we are not tapping into the opportunities that we have, so that we will increase our strength. The challenges may be enormous, but they are not more than our strength. We have membership, we have a lot of you or us that are qualified, that can do the right things. But we are wasting too much time destroying each other with lies. I mean lies, I will say lies. And I'm sorry if I'm coming down that way, but we are destroying each other. And this is not fair to the church. And it is just unbelievable that even the ministers who should be guiding us as laity, although we have our own rights, minds, but yes, they are our spiritual leaders, so we expect them to counsel us or to just put us on the spot when we are going astray or going wrong. But I mean, we are all in the same boat together, so who advises who? So you and I as laity, if we try a little bit to just be truthful to each other and not holding too much unnecessary hate, I'm saying unnecessary. There are some of us who have carried hate in our hearts for years and just hurting ourselves unnecessarily for issues that are not even significant. And this is one reason. So we are just hurting ourselves. So because I have hate Abel is doing the right thing. I'm just waiting for either Jerry or waiting to say something about Abel, and I will amplify it until Jerry himself will get concerned and say, "You mean what I was just saying just now is really what that sister is contributing to?" But she has spoken more than me, and she's saying, she's going contrary to what I was really saying. But Jerry is embarrassed, or really is embarrassed now to really come back to me to tell me that's not really what I meant. This is what we're doing to each other, and we must stop if we really want this church. and we want to regain the memory that we cherish so much, this is what needs to stop. I want to
Wow. Be safe, Naomi.
stop
You
there.
gotta you got to be frank. You. It looks like this. It looks like you've been preparing the message for a very long time
No,
because
she keep flying. She keep flying. I'm
I'm
telling you.
telling you guys that I will be with you frequently. You know, I will give you my time and we'll have some time together, actually.
yeah. Go ahead. You want to get follow up question? Amen.
Yeah. Thank you so much. As I said, there is very friendly discussions, and Maya, how the process is going. One thing I haven't heard that I've from the General Secretary, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. It has to do with favoritism. In the most Liberian term, common term is it has to do with picking and choosing. That even when it comes to the bishop office or to your office or the general secretary, there are instances where you people pick and choose. You pick and choose which pastor goes to where and which pastor go to where. You pick and choose among lay people as to who's supposed to get this assignment of that assignment in this position. I don't want to make it as a yes or no question, but I would like you to kindly comment on that. That is one of the major factors as serving as a fueling factors of the divides within the SCL.
Thank you, Abel. And again, I just want to go back to say that the wrong perception is eating us up. And this is why eating us up. The wrong perception area, Abel, and you and I are peace builders, are counselors, trauma counselors. I'm one of the first trainees of the THRP. The first. I'm one of the first members in that group since 1997. And you know, the thing they call assumption. If you assume, it's good to assume, but what we don't do is to justify. We don't justify our perceptions, so we rely on our perceptions and our assumptions, and we just destroy ourselves and destroy the minds of others, and even destroy those that we have the wrong perceptions about, because we say the wrong things about those. It's Naomi. Ask. You may say like that, but I would like the teammate to make a research, and I'm saying I really want to have little strength to spend more time with you. So today is just the first. We're going to have series about the work of the Lutheran Church or our relationship in this church. We're going to have series. And if you want to be personal, you can bring individuals' names. And we're going to discuss the issues. You know, the good thing is that some of the things that you guys have been discussing are nobody issues. That's a good thing that I can praise God for. That at least if it may not be 100%, but I know about some of these issues. So talking about pick and choosing to send the other person here, to elect the other person, to put a person in the position. No, we don't pick and choose. I just want to be frank there that we don't pick and choose. No, we don't do that.
All right, so loving. Thank you. I mean, I'm enjoying the flow. I must admit, I'm enjoying the flow. I hope you got a bottle of water beside you so that you can be
Thank
sipping.
you. I have that so I can drink a little bit.
Thank you. So yes,
I love that.
that's great. You've been quiet, man. I mean, please say something.
You mean me? I should continue?
I'm talking already. Waiting been
Oh,
quiet for a while.
you know, not really. Before, and I will say this quickly that before our GS came on live, I received a message from her sister in Liberia, who happens to be my mother, Mother May Freeman Lau. So I've been cautioned to engage her sister carefully. But like the GS has said, this is our church. It's nothing to to shy away from. So Mother May Lau, please give me the chance to engage your sister. She's here with us. So um, like like one of the viewers said, I think it's a sister Sue, yeah, Sue Copper, said that you were not preparing. Is actually that you know about our church. That's the reason why we invited you, and thank God that you are here today. Um, I think before I can go to my question, I would say one of the contributing factors to the assumption might be information dissemination. I think that's one thing too our church has been lacking. So because maybe people think that they are not getting what they want to get, the information they are not getting it, or they are not hearing what they want to hear. Well, I would just go with the assumption that Jerry told me, or I will add on as information and kind of speculate what Jerry told me. But if we had like an effective communication channel, I think some of these assumptions, like you put it, will be put to bed. And quickly, I would say, like for example, when the issue of COVID came up, some of the other ecumenical partners came up with some statement and everything. But ours was sent via email. You got more than 150,000, Liberian Lutherans, and communication was sent through email. But I'm glad that you're able to admit to some of the problems that we have. But quickly, I want to. I had a question.
Before you go to the question, just wait a little bit. I want
Okay,
to come there.
okay.
Let me come there. You know why? You guys are talking about communication. You see the boy sitting there called Abel, and even yourself. Look, give back to your church. Hmm? The thing we're talking about communication. You say, "Yeah, hey, Luchin Chayin got website, Luchin Chayin got the, Luchin Chayin got that." Hey, we're talking about that. Information has been disseminated. The thing is,
This now me,
yes,
this now me. Let's have a harmonious discussion. Don't blame us. Don't blame us. Go ahead.
no. The reason why I'm coming there, you see what you guys are doing now, and I'm telling you, I talked about election earlier. We didn't have to wait for election to bring this platform. I'm telling you the truth. And I'm particularly pointing at you guys. I told you that we were going to have this discussion, but dealing with you guys will be another time because today is the first day. So I'm holding on to that. But I will come back to you and I
Okay.
will deal with you individually. Not bad though. I'm not here to threaten you, but I'm just saying we'll be putting all of us. You know what? Take my report. From the day I came on board as General Secretary, I know that information dissemination has been a problem from the day I worked at the level of the bishop's office. So if you were just to take one copy as early as 2012, take any of my reports, all of the information, the only details you will not get in there is something that is happening to the parish. But everyone, it's only because they are ignoring what is in there. They don't want to see that. They want to send out the wrong message. And this information, why did the bishop make this huge representation of executive council membership? Why? It is because of the same information dissemination. Because when the membership was narrowed, what is being discussed here or is happening at the church, if you didn't have enough membership coming from either the southeast or other places, who will know what is happening there? But you have 3 persons from each district. The DE is coming with 2 representatives, excluding the board members. And these members are expected to also have their own district council meetings that is supposed to be disseminating these meetings, these information too. So, yes, we may not have been coming on the radio and talking or having the Facebook talk, yes, but we have had our own channel to disseminate our information. That's what I would love to say. And I'm glad that also we are putting in place a website. The website, there are a lot of struggles still on board. You need to help that communication department that we have established. At least we launched a website. It needs to be loaded. And you will see all this information. You will see reports and activities and pictorials since this leadership took on. Most of the information that you're looking for are right here available. But people will not even make the effort to come and just ask that person. And now, as I'm saying, because we just have the wrong perceptions about people. So I have access to Willie or Jerry or Abel, and I refuse to go to Abel because I mean I'm thinking wrongly about him. I'm thinking wrongly about Jerry or Willie. It is not that I can't go to Willie to get that information. And so I just say Willie is not doing it, or Willie did this, or he did not do. That's what we're doing to each other. And I'm saying, let's stop. Let's just stop that and strive. Unity, peace is not always peaceful, but if it is meaningful that will be united, then we have to take on that pinch ourselves. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, viewers, you are
oh,
well,
oh,
viewers, you are listening to the affairs of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, the past, the present, and the prospects. And we have with us on set tonight our big sister, our mother, Naomi for Wilson, who, if I may say, the outgoing General Secretary General, the outgoing
Yeah.
General Secretary, sorry. I hope I will not be hurt in contempt for that. But now we are transitioning from the past and moving gradually into the present, and where we believe that the discussion is going to get very, very interesting and very, very, important as we move on to the present, because now we'll be assessing your own administration, will be assessing your own work, will be assessing your own action when you were serving or are still serving as the General Secretary of the church. That's the present. But when he will
yeah.
complete, and after when he completes his second question, then when he will recognize our viewers, and after that, we'll go to the present, and then later on, we'll open the phone line for our viewers to call. Says Naomi, I can tell you that many persons got so many issues, good issues though, and you will hear them because they will call. Thank you. Wait.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
quickly, speaking of the presence, and I know her office has to do a lot with this. Has to do with projects. I'd like to inquire on two projects. I'd like to inquire on two projects, and if you can just give us update on two projects. One of them is we undertook um, we undertook a stewardship initiative that was a fundraiser, and it was headed by um, the late Reverend K. Mangon, because I work on that team as well, along with Sis Dorcas Johnson, Corporal Silly, and Sister Lima Jackson. Yeah, so we all work on that, and I'd like you to please give us the status of that uh, um, stewardship initiative that was launched, because it's like, I think, own the LCL. I think that was the name, was called own the LCL, or give to the LCL. So people in the rural area, in the urban area, we all collected funds according to parages and everything. And like I said, I participated in that project. And even Brother Doubleson participated in that. And if you can please give us status update on that, that's one. And then two, um, speaking also of communication, I'd like for you to please, there are a lot of information going around, and then for us here on set, we don't want to be part of that group that will go about speculating. If you can just please give us some updates, updates on um the launch of the Lutheran the Luther FM project. I know St. Peter's decided no, because there were no, they did not have any major saying in it, and the bishop had to send people. But you are the main person on the football field, called the number 6, the midfielder. You are the midfielder. You distribute the ball. You got everything under control right there. So if you can please, provide updates on those two concerns, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie. The first question, I think you were lambasting two or more projects together, because we had a lot of fundraising initiatives. So when you talked about Reverend Mengon fundraising project, actually used to be the mission rally. which
Yeah, the
was
mission, yeah, the mission rally, like I think owning the LCL or something like that. Owning the
no, that's
LCL
what I'm
rally.
saying. Maybe just wait, just
Okay,
wait.
that's what I'm saying.
LCL was a different project. The mission rally, the mission rally was actually a project that was already initiated before even we came on. It came on as a result of the establishment of the Department for Mission Evangelism for Mission Evangelism and Diaconia Ministry, which was established by the late Remengo. And because it was a local initiative, at that time it did not have much support. And so they had to engage the congregational members to give support. And as they raised funds, that's how they were able to carry out the evangelism activities. Eventually, that department was joined with the how you call it, the urban ministry, and that was in 2013. So they were merged. But as time went by, well, giving is always a problem. You know, we will start to give from the very beginning. We are all excited, and as time goes by, the same perception again. Sometimes people just get weak and say, "Oh, I just giving the money, and I don't have money not to give." So for the first time, they will be willing to give, and you can get them giving continuously. And I think that's just how it went down, because he used to give out envelopes, that was even ongoing until we came on board, but eventually it just died because
Yeah,
people were no longer putting money in that envelope.
yeah,
That's the mission rally. So I
right.
come to the OLCL. OLCL now was the nomenclature given by the Bishop Sayemklu leadership.
Okay,
So
okay,
it was,
okay. The
yeah,
just
it was headed, yeah. And
okay.
that initiative was actually headed by Sister Windell Gardner. Again, she and her team were to go and engage, just gave out the message to people that you need to give back to your church. The church is challenged. And all of these were just sustainability initiatives, actually, encouraging members to know that you need to contribute to the work of the church. So you may have partners sending the money, but we as the individual members, because this is how the very funds that are brought to us, you are abroad there, how money is raised.
Yeah, we got like we have like Giving Tuesday, and
Thank you. So those were just initiatives to encourage ourselves so that we will give continuously no matter what, to have our own church, to participate in our own church growth, or mission and vision and all of that. So the same way like the mission rally, I can tell you, on LCL, the same way it started from the very beginning. People were contributing, but as time went by, you could not get people to continue. I can call another local project name that you may not have added, because that's how it also went down. I can tell you about the Just 50. The Just 50 project was a project that the bishop launched at the 2014 convention. And that Just 50, even you guys, I don't know, at that time you are not left yet, but he shared that vision with even people in the diaspora. That he only wanted one of us to adopt a pastor. And that was meant directly. The LCL initiative was meant for the central administration support, mission rally meant for the evangelism department support. But with the how you call it, the Just 50 was actually meant for ministers, especially rural ministers. Just adopt a pastor and pay $50. So initially it was 50, and looking at the need, we are all challenged. So it was even broken down at most 50. So you can give 25, you can give 10, you can give $5, and people were contributing. Again, the same group of people could not continue to give. So why that project even died is that the ministers themselves, most of them did not really understand the goal and objective, because what it was to do, the money was to be kept with the treasurer at the end of the quarter. That's every 3 months. Each rural pastor will come to receive 150, and as they are coming, Why members are paying $50 to that minister or that pastor, because he also extended to even assign deacons assigned to parishes. So if that minister is coming, he or she was to come with 2,000 Liberian dollars as contribution from the parish, so that the parish is also participating in the payment of that minister, because that's your constitutional duty. So we didn't want to take that obligation from you, but we were only to support you to care for your minister or pastor. And I tell you, what some of the ministers will do, instead of actually explaining that concept in depth to the members, since members were not willing to give that, or sometimes they will even fight with the councils to give that 2,000 per month, they will go, the ministers by themselves will go and maybe credit that 6,000 from different sources and come with it, maybe like in the name of the parish, whereas our parish has not contributed, so the parish is not really owning the project. So they will bring the 6,000 and they get a 150 and go back. As a result, the members that were encourages themselves would have contributed. Besides that 2,000, they were also to contribute more. But because they did not understand and own the project, and the few members that were giving, like some of us and others, they could not just continue. So again, so it just went down. And P4 really, really hurt the bishop. That is something that he continues to talk about, because he really, really loved that particular project. He still wants to engage, his successor, to see how the strategy can be maybe redefined to involve the congregations more. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Uh, um, in the Naomi. To be honest with you, the Jazz 50 Bishop came up to Aliyah Convention in 2017, and that was one of the things he spoke about, and he sold the idea to us. Um, we grab it. I think Aliyah still has it in her budget. Aliyah is still contributing to that project. Um,
No, to just 50, that was a disappointing part. I want to come right there.
okay.
You disappointed all of us, including the bishop. The just 50, Aliyah has contributed to other projects, but just 50, no, you
All
did
right.
not
So
adapt.
all right, so maybe that would be a question for Aliyah when they come on the show, because another thing again was that Aliyah asked for like information like brochure to sell the to sell the information, like something tangible, but it was not made available. But like I said, once Aliyah appears on the show next Sunday, questions of such will be coming up. But I just want to go ahead quickly and then recognize our viewers, because at this time we recognize our viewers. And because the program today is very, very interesting, we're going to give a lot of time to our viewers because we have so many questions already in the queue. We're going to give so many, we're going to give our viewers the opportunity to ask their questions, and they will be calling in. So quickly, I will recognize Sid Fidecia Mars. She was the very first person. We want to say welcome, Brother Moses Cole. Brother Moses Cole is our partner from ITV and also our partner FM there in Lusaka, Zambia. So just to let you know that Madam Secretary General, that you are on live in Lusaka, Zambia as well, just to let you know that. The Reverend Smokey Cockler, Brother Anthony Vampana, Ambassador James Trump Cole, thank you very much for joining us. Um, Brother Roger Abin Camon, our president, Royal Jerome Jala, um, and the Christina Kpangba. It's like when the GA was coming today, all people follow along because but Christina Kpangba is here. Says Tony Cool. We say welcome. Um, says Sue Cover. We want to say welcome as well. Uh, we want to go down to Menipale K Sumo. I will try to contact you from here. You are there in St. Louis. You are a regular follower of this program. We want to say thank you very much for following us. The Reverend Thomas Ipe, thank you very much. Says Victoria Johnson, the Reverend Wokolo Colley. I said the GS got all her people here today. The Reverend Peter Cholo Logan is following us live. We want to say thank you very much. Our dear brother and friend Elijah Zena, my junior brother Emmanuel Smo, Cowboy, um, brother Walter Goningali Jr. Thank you very much. He also has a question. We're going to be posting that as well. Brother Arthur S. Colley, um, and just the rest, brother David K. Morba from there in Fuya, Lufa County, and we recognize Sisu, we recognize Reverend Wokolo Colley. We want to recognize you, and all of our yes, all of our viewers. I shouldn't forget Deckerson Zach Williams. Want to say thank you very much for following us, and we have some questions in here. We're gonna go back to um, our lead moderator today, um, the ambassador Jerry Tablo, and from there we'll be taking some questions from the queue.
Thank you so much. For me, it won't be a question, but I just want to say thank you, Sister Naomi, for the zest that you have, and and we intend to ensure that we keep it going seamlessly so that at least our viewers can get a lot. So we will not be asking many more questions because I can tell you a lot of questions are coming and want to give our viewers the opportunity. So before we go to the viewers now to give the opportunity, Willie, can you please put the numbers on the screen so that people can start seeing to call? We will now give Abe the time to ask one question that is almost like a bridge, linking the past as we enter into the present. Abel wants to give a transitional question. Then after that, then we can give our viewers the chance to call in. We can give them the chance to highlight the question, and then we'll just take it from the present straight to the present. And then from there, we'll zero in on your closing comment. So we cannot keep you also late because you know fully well that you're a big sister. You need to be home with your kids. Abel, please give that bridge. Just a
Thank you,
pointed
thank
question,
you.
and from there we can go to the.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you to Sis Naomi. You've elaborated very well, and I love the way you're proceeding with all of these clarities and questions. Now, as Jerry regularly said, I'm kind of retrospecting the past, taking it from 10 years since you talk about the leadership of the church. Um, you talk about the church with all of these institutions still alive, operating very well. Beginning with the central administration, where the central administration is located on 13th Street, and then spreading out to the various institutions. For instance, the Korean Lutheran hospitals, for example, the Phoebe Hospital and School of Nursing, um, the institutions at the Total Lutheran Mission, the Lutheran Training Institute, and you just name the rest, all of these institutions. My question to you tonight is, uh, uh, what have really changed in terms of improvement, in terms of development, and what have not been working very well? So I would say, what have changed for the best, and what have changed for the worst, and reasons why, if something is changing for the best from where you took the church 10 years back, what reasons, let's say, what are the contributing factors that make that to happen? If things are not working well and maybe retrogressing, what you think would be the factors? So we are looking at 10 years back and comparing that 10 years in terms of institutional development to the present.
Thank you. Thank you, Abel. So, talking about the state, the current state of the entire church. So you ask about the central administration and the rest of the areas. If we were to consider the central administration, let me start with the central administration. When we took over at the level of the central administration, the first thing we encountered was the renovation of the bishop's residence. Looking at the residence at the time, after the assessment, we needed the budget that was identified then, or the cost. It was like over 40,000 to renovate the bishop's residence. But while we had identified that the bishop emeritus and Bishop Senkro were already discussing about the residents here. And from that discussion, Bishop Senkro realized from the advice of our late emeritus that residing here was like just working 24/7. And he started to see that even for the time he was here at the LCL compound. So then, the question was, what do we do? And the bishop told us that his intent was not to reside here. He wanted to reside at his own residence that he had built and his father was there. The only thing that was lacking then was the fence, because he already had his family living there while he was even in the US. And so we had to take on an administrative decision. And that is one of the notions. You heard me talk about assumption earlier that I want to clear here. One notion that we have all carried for a long time. When we took that administrative decision, we were also able to determine the cost, because he said security. He coming from that end, and where that building is, you know where his residence is, and at that time there was no fence around, and the road was bad. So the road was bad. Those were the two concerns. The road was bad, the place was far, and then the fence. We determined the cost of the fence. So we took on the administrative decision. If the bishop had always resided here, and you have the treasurer residing here, now that the treasurer also was no longer residing here, and because the general secretary had never resided here, since you have $100 allowance, housing allowance provided for the general secretary, the same $100 will be provided for the treasurer. For the bishop, because of the limitation of funding, our own challenge, we cannot give more than $300 allowance. So then we determine the cost of the fence, and that all those were administrative decisions. Identify the cost of the entire fence, and it was around 20, I think some 23 or 24,000. So constructing the fence, renovating the residence that he doesn't want to live in, which one do we go for? We go for the 24,000. And then we will determine, we will do that harmonization, and then we will then charge that cost to the number of years that will cover the cost. And that was exactly what we did. So while the bishop was still residing here, we were able to construct that fence, and then we took on the transformation. We were now in the gear for transformation, but where is the funding? There was no funding. The decision was reached administratively by the leadership that we transform this residence into a generating, facility, a local fund generating facility. And that idea was shared with Executive Council. Executive Council bought the idea. How did we get that money? We had to borrow the money through acquiring loans from the bank. So we built the conference hall. We heard all of the different criticisms, yes, but we saw the need for increasing the local funding because we saw the challenge. So when that was done, we were all excited and said it was important to continue with the compound transformation. We took a second loan, and that loan was meant to build a new office of the central office or of the central administration, and then construct an additional guest house to increase the rooms at the main guest house. And that second loan was again acquired, and the structure that you may have come in already with, And that's how that edifice, the upper layer of the conference hall, was constructed, and the D wing of the guest house, which is that new building, was constructed, and the old conference hall that we once had, because that was the only conference hall here in the trauma healing building, was expanded. The women's office that was attached to it, the women's office was relocated. You now see the women right there in the face as soon as you are coming on the compound. And so that second loan was able to help us do all of those transformations, including carrying out some work in the mini guest house. So you can see some of the transformations that are going here, and we have done a lot that I may not be able to name all, but if you come, I think you are seeing all of that. So that was one major thing that the central administration did. And why did we do that? Because we saw income from partners or support from partners reducing drastically. It was already reducing before we took on, and as we took on, we saw. So we had to start identifying the sustainability means. Going to our institutions, yes, our institutions are all in programs are standing stable, Abel. Yes, we may have challenges in one or two areas, but I can tell you, for example, I will start with maybe the Monrovia, those offices that are based in Monrovia. The HIV and AIDS program, of course, when we took over, we had only the DMCDD, that's the Danish Mission Council or Development Council project, through our partner Promesio, or that was called the Danish Evangelical Mission then, was the only project being implemented when we took over. And at that time, in fact, the funds were already reducing, because when we took over, it was a battle. Our first project that was won, I mean, we had a lot of battle with the partners. So while we were on, we were able to acquire or obtain another project from Church of Sweden that provided support to that same HIV and AIDS. That was for the first time that the Church of Sweden was able to support that particular program. And as the year went by, we were able to implement during the Ebola crisis through the effort of the team and with the support of the central administration. We were able to win projects from USAID through Mercy Corps. We implemented big projects there, the ECAP, you call it the ECAP. And currently, as I speak to you, HIV and AIDS is implementing the, I would say, the highest funded project, even though most of the funds are also going back to the partners, which means they are recruiting their own staff that are placed to various health institutions, and we are required to pay them. We go to the trauma healing. And trauma healing, as you may already know, Abel, you know that by 2016, 2017, we were already receiving conversations from Church of Sweden that they would draw down. And so the conversations were ongoing, and we were all identifying what to do, exit strategy and all of that. The exit strategy was identified, and they said it was not only for the Lutheran Church, but that was when Europe was challenged, and Sweden was taking on a lot of the refugees, and they decided, Denmark, especially Denmark and Sweden, they were already deciding that they need to focus home. That was the slogan, in fact, because we visited there in 2016, as you know. We were called to go and share our peace building idea with them, especially when they were facing our refugee crisis. So eventually, by 2018, they had to slow down. They had to cut off support. In fact, that was something that those staff that were working with us, or Anna and all of them, they were not happy, but that was the decision anyway. Nothing they could do, it was beyond their control. So Church of Sweden support was cut off from not just trauma healing, but from central administration, from the lay training, and all the other programs that they were supporting. But you know that in 2013, we won the Bread for the World project, which you were even a manager for. And that project has been implemented in Buchanan. It is still there. It is still being implemented. And we are thankful to the team. They have, just as the HIV and AIDS program has been winning projects here, there, the trauma healing has also been doing similar thing. They have won some projects. I remember, I think 2018 or so, 2018 or 2019, they won this More Than Me project where the entire staff of the organization were traumatized by the action of a staff, an employee of that organization, and we were hired to provide counseling. And they have also won additional project from Bread for the World, which is a civil peace service project that is now focused on return migrants and drug users. And as I speak to you, the most recent one that is just beginning to start is also like the More Than Me project. So trauma healing has been hired to provide counseling for an organization whose staff were traumatized by the death of one of their colleagues. She died right in their presence, and so we are being hired. So besides that, we still do think we are doing all of activities here, there. Trauma healing has been supporting all of the activities like the Ebola or COVID, providing the psychosocial aspect. Then we have had additional, so before I come to the additional programs, but we have the literacy project. So the literacy project on that project or program, the literacy program in total, this leadership was able to add value to the work they are doing there, because yes, in memorial, they have strictly worked with the parishes, and not even many parishes. They were only focused on the translation, but the literacy work was not extended in the communities, and we saw the need for that work to be extended in the community. We talked with the partners. So as I speak to you, that program has been carrying out a project for, I think, nearly 8 years now. I think it should be, yes, around 8 to 9 years, I think so. But it's focused strictly on women literacy, and it's in about 10 centers. It's being implemented at 10 centers in 3 counties. So that's Bone, Lofa, and it was extended to Grand Bassa because one of the supervisors moved there, one of the pastors. So it's also helping some of our pastors who are serving as teachers, is at least helping to increase their income, but they are also contributing a lot to impart knowledge to our mothers and I mean, not just the older mothers, but young mothers as well, but especially older mothers who never dreamed about ever holding chalk. You'll be excited to go to Burkina or Zolowo or any other areas, and you see some 60 plus years woman taking the chalk to write her name. You are always there, so I'm sure you know about that project, Abel, because it's all there.
Are you hearing me?
Huh? Come back. Are you hearing me?
Jerry, are you there? Jerry? Okay, continue.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, much better, Jerry. Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Hello?
Yes, Jerry, we are here.
Oh, fine.
We are here. You are good. You are.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, you are good, big sister. You are
here.
here.
Go ahead. You got lost in between.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I was at a literacy center, so we want to stop there that in addition to their traditional work that they have been doing, translating the Bible, or, so they are now doing additional literacy work with the community. That's what I want to add there. And we go to the malaria program. The malaria program was established in 2013 just as a campaign, and we were able to involve all of the programs in the write-up, and it started very big in almost all of the 15 counties, but the following 3 years, because it started initially with 3 years, and after the 3 years, the partners reduced that because they said it was a campaign. But this project or program now, because of the different activities, community diseases that he was able to focus on to integrate partners. Whenever they took the decision to abort, they will come and assess and then realize that there is need to continue. So this project is one of the projects or programs that is making tremendous impact in communities. I mean, I have gone to some communities where people thought that, malaria, they thought that they were just bewitching the children. But with the message, the awareness from this program, it helps communities now to know how to take care of themselves and their themselves and their community. In addition to that, we have also discovered that some of the communities where this program is implementing, you have clinics that do not even have drugs. The clinics are there, but there are no drugs, and when the patients go there, they get any prescriptions. Some of them will have to wait for market days, and the kind of drugs that will go there, updated drugs and all of that. So again, the need was shared with partners. So as I speak to you, the malaria program has been building pharmacies. We built the first pharmacy in the Swat area, Banda community, and the second one was just built quite recently. It was just dedicated by the bishop in this very June. In Bunota. So the disappointing news is that partners are still saying that it is a campaign project, so they really don't want to continue. But again, we don't want to talk more about it, but they are again singing some songs that, well, they will see. So we are again seeing, but that particular program is already implementing a gender justice project, which is again one of our newest projects, but it's already making impact because it's collaborating with the women's desk or the women's department, and they are doing great by empowering some single mothers, especially those that have not been empowered at all. So
Since now, since now,
yeah.
since now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know a lot, but we just want to apologize to the viewers that we got some small technical issues. You can see we keep fluctuating.
Yeah.
Abel will be announcing his WhatsApp number later so that they can call via Abel WhatsApp number so that you can get their calls, because we're trying to see if we can do some setting up backstage, and when we correct that, then we can put the number back on the screen. So Abel will call his number. So Abel, please take your time to call the number, and then so the viewers can take it down, and then they can call you. They can call your phone. So Sis Naomi can respond to them. Please take your time to call the number.
Thank you, Jerry. You have two numbers right now. The first one is 0886 576076. You can get that from me on WhatsApp as well as 917 539 3421. I will call it again, 0886 576076. That's on WhatsApp. And then you can also get me on WhatsApp at 917 539 3421.
Thank you very much, Abel. And with the lines and at open, Abel, when you get callers, you can signal us, and then we can be able to try to stop some Mrs. Naomi can be able to respond to them. But Mrs. Naomi, I see that you're trying to dabble into a lot of issues, myriad of issues you've talked about, ranging from financial to administrative decision, some of the decisions that you took, that you people took collectively, and all of those issues. But, it's the present, we're assessing you as GS. So before we go to the actual administrative decisions that we're taking, we want to gather from you to gauge your opinion. With all of what you have just said, financially, I come back to the stability. Are we self-sufficient as LCL? Can we as we speak, you as GS, can you guarantee that we can support ourselves, as a church, with or without external support, financially? Is that possible?
I will tell you no, Jerry. And if we would do so, it is possible, but we have a long way to go. And why is it not possible now is because majority of us have not understood the message or the reason why we need to do so. So you heard me talking about all of that initially is because as a team we were able to identify the need, and we saw that there was need for sustainability because we saw support reducing. I'll tell you, for example, electricity. I will just tell you, and I have to keep calling calls because that's a sustainability part. So if even partners where you have partners maybe sending
1
you,
minute. Sis Naomi, there's a caller on the line.
Go ahead. Go ahead with the
Can
call.
you call your
Go ahead with
name
the call.
and where you're calling from? Are you getting the caller, please? Sis Naomi?
No.
no.
Can you please put it to your speaker?
1 minute. There should be technical issues here.
Or put your phone on speaker.
Yeah,
Put
the
your
phone
phone
is on speaker. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, just do that.
We are not getting the quarter, Abel. Is the quarter stay on? So Abel, what we'll do, says Naomi, will continue, and then when you set it up, then you just let us know. Once you got the quarter, you just raise the phone, and we'll know that we'll break so that the call can come in. Please set it up correctly. Says Naomi, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Yeah, so going along, maybe because we'll have callers coming, I wouldn't be able to narrate the achievement at every program or institution. But what I can tell you, example for Phoebe and Corin, I can tell you that Phoebe is stable. Phoebe may not have the very big budget it once had, but yes, is stable. It is not in a crisis, if I should say. It may be challenged, but not in crisis. In the same way, we can go to Corin. You remember, like last year during the convention, in fact, staff were already threatening to strike, and
Jerry?
we are thankful that some initiatives were undertaken and most of these have met. You getting me? And so as I speak to you, there are a lot of administrators.
I'm getting you, Sis Naomi. As I said, we've had some technical problem.
Okay.
Apparently, my phone is not that is kind of stick onto my computer. But let me quickly relay the questions. The question came from Reverend Thomas Pay, and
Okay.
Reverend Pay is asking that there have been rumors that first, in fact, he said that the bishop's residence is very key to the bishops of the LCL because the residence being located on the compound, it has some implications where Lutherans supposed to have access to their bishop at all times when he is on the compound. And that's the essence, the reason for which the residence were constructed on the compound. And he said the late Bishop Pins lived in that residence. Bishop Harris lived in that residence. While it said that Bishop Jensen came and shifted the entire thing. That's the first concern he gave. And the second one is that there have been rumor in the air that the current the outgoing bishop, Bishop Jameson, uh, described the bishop's residence as a residence of rags and carriages. So for that reason, he could not live in that residence. And then the third one is that what happened to the $24,000 that would be used to construct, or let's say to fence the bishop's house? Where would the new bishops be? Would the new bishop ask for additional money to also construct his house or maybe fence his house? I think these are the concerns that he's voting for. So I just thought to relay that quickly.
Yeah. So says Naomi, I think the first question and the third question or the last question, you can answer that. But the Roman part of the question about cat and rose, please strike it off.
Okay. Okay. So he talked about the residence of the bishop. Why was it? You say why did we take a decision to have the bishop not live on a compound?
Yeah, so Bishop Harris lived there, Bishop
Yeah,
King lived there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the good thing is that this question is coming from one of the most senior ministers of the church, and Reverend Pay will agree with me that if we went back to Bishop Payne's administration, to Bishop Dick's administration, he knows that this compound was highly restricted. Even during Bishop Dick's regime, because we were right here at St. Peter's, pastors had just a day, only one day assigned for visit. Not, I think it was on a Tuesday or so, a specific date. You don't come any other time for that day. But Bishop Harris opened it up, and that's what I said earlier. Bishop Harris opened the church, and so people could come at any time. So people were excited. They want to meet with their bishop. And because he opened that door, it was difficult now for him to ever close it. He could never close it anymore because the church was opening more and more. So the challenge that Bishop Harris, had now, he could not tell people now, don't come. I was there as secretary with him. If he left, if he just passed from the back and just come home, people are already sitting right there in the residence awaiting him. And he had no other place to pass, but you have to meet them right there. Those are issues that were being discussed. This decision was not taken unilaterally. It was taken with the endorsement of the Executive Council and the Loudon Street. The Lutheran Church had a lot of facilities. That's what I want to tell you. Bishop Harris, again, because this regime was supported by LWF, the then country director in person of Reinhard Tize. Reinhard was able to help the church to acquire a lot of properties. And why did he do that? Because he saw that there was need for sustainability. So instead of taking physical cash and giving it to the church, he saw that the church was heavily reliant upon partner support. So he helped the church to acquire a lot of properties. And the Loudon Street property was earmarked by this administration with the endorsement of the bishop for the bishop's residence. So I want to clear that. And from the transitional period, that decision has been shared with the bishop-elect. The bishop-elect has gone there. Initially, he came. He was determined that he wants to move here. And the decision was, when the necessary actions were already being put in place. We didn't even wait any time because we wanted for the bishop's goal to be achieved, or for us to do the right thing to satisfy the bishop. So he already identified the building. I can tell you, we were running with it now to transform that building back into residence for the bishop to reside here. When the bishop saw the Loudon Street residence, he reconsidered his decision, and he said he would rather move to 11th Street. So that's where we are. And the partners there, or the occupants, or the lease should be expiring on the 30th of this month. They are being aware ever since, and we already told them that whoever bishop that was elected, if he chose to live close to the compound here, on the compound or close to the compound, that property was earmarked. So The residents are already aware, the occupants are aware, and so they will be
So,
moving.
Thank,
so
thank you
says
very
Naomi.
much. Thank you
Well,
very much, Sis Naomi. There's a comment here from Walter Gwaningale Jr. He's asking, is the bishop, outgoing bishop, has he been afraid of the frogs as a shepherd? And that's the
You say,
reason why was the outgoing bishop afraid of the frogs? That's
no,
the
not,
reason why he ran.
the
That's the
flood.
reason why
No.
he ran from the compound.
not a fraud with the flocks. If I can tell you, in fact, the current bishop, at any time, for those who have worked with him, anytime you come to this office, Bishop is here. Water who is talking, water knows that health is very important. As I speak to you, ice water right now, you can ice it back. Even the phone, if you just didn't take the phone to call water that you're going to meet him, you are not his visitor. I'm saying that to say that water knows that health is very important. So as much as, yes, it is important for the bishop to meet his people, you still should have time after working hour for the bishop to rest. Now that was a decision of the bishop, of Bishop Seyenklo, but that did not mean that Bishop Seyenklo was not a people type. Everyone who has worked or come to this office, they know that his office is open without any schedule. And that's why some time ago, when you guys were even discussing that some staff, either the BA or somebody prevented you, nobody prevents the bishop. I mean, prevents anyone from seeing the bishop. His door is always open, even without appointment. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, says Naomi. I think in all fairness to our viewers, we got to call a spade a spade. If it is a bishop's office, even all other offices, they got time and schedule for people to visit. But
Thank you.
a person's resident should be a bit confidential and should be a bit off limit. So I don't think it's something. So where's the bishop privacy? Oh, because he's bishop, so he should not have a privacy. So I think that question, I mean, sometimes. But I'm still concerned because Reverend Pierce's third question, I'm not too sure you concluded on that. Reverend Pierce's third question, a part of it stated that where will the new bishop be? You partly answered that to say that the 11th Street residents, the occupants are aware. Yeah. So the bishop. So I assume that if the incoming bishop wants to be at 11th Street, closer to the office, he got a place. But my point here now is the other part of the question on if the bishop says, because there's precedence now being set.
Yeah.
So if this incoming bishop says that he's not comfortable living at the 11th Street residence,
yeah,
and give reasons to the executive council so that they can construct a fence and run a video hall or refurbish his house. I mean, is the church going for? I mean, is that what the church going to be doing?
Exactly. So I come there when he asked earlier. Then he said, "Where did the 24,000 go?" He asked that question. So I want to tell him that he can check the treasurer's office. He can even call the cashier who has been retired, who gives all the allowances to staff who are entitled to, as to whether those years, and you can do your multiplication and determine the number of years that would have amounted to if you were determined $300 per month, and you will determine how. And I purposely call that amount because, like I said from the very beginning, this is the this is one issue, even currently as we speak, we're hearing people talking about. So that's why I brought up that issue. So we can go out for 1 hour explaining it. I will tell Reverend P is a part of the transitional team. He is aware, and he even went on a Lower Street property, Lower Street, and saw that property. And he is the one who has even, it's like he's the one engaging my sweetheart now to change his mind to come on this 30th Street. Because initially when the bishop elect, who is my sweetheart? Actually, the two of them are my sweethearts, or Reverend P and the bishop elect. They can force anyway. We understand our relationship. They will not fight, but Bishop elect had initially decided to come here, and we were already taking on the necessary negotiation or arrangements to make that happen. But when he saw the building on 11th Street, he said he would prefer that. The only thing we have done now, as I speak to you, we are even written. Bishop elect already has a copy of that communication because of the different discussions that were ongoing. We did not do that communication as that in the contract or the agreement, but we express that in our write-up, and so that communication has been written. The occupants, a grace period, they were actually asking for 3 months grace period, and he pay, in fact, and the team said that was too long, so we agreed for a most July ending, and so they have been written to turn over the property by the end of July.
Okay, so says Naomi.
Thank you so much. There's a quick comment here that the bishop's office is upstairs. You have to climb several steps up. What happens if you have a person with disability wants to see their bishop? What would happen? A blind person. How do you manage handling these kinds of cases?
Yeah, we have had blind persons coming. In fact, most of our facilities or institutions in Liberia are challenged by that. And I can tell you, even this building, when we were constructing, we took that into consideration. We may not have had the means to construct the real or the particular thing that will provide access to people with disability but that is something that is possible in the future. We did not consider it, but as I speak to you, our blind members come here to about usually visits here from St. Peter's. So yes, we have people with disabilities still visiting the facility.
Yeah, he's not only talking about blind, he's also talking about someone who is crippled. They have completely, how do they access the bishop?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As far as I'm concerned, I don't remember any that disability, they were not able to do so. I have not seen that, but I know that when that happens, if someone came here with some disability is unable to come, they will always be supported. Just as we do to all of the other institutions, even the legislature, and you know, our universities, you and I know, we went through the walls of other universities, and we still have people with disabilities going there to acquire knowledge. So yes, whenever someone comes here with that need, the person will be supported.
So one quick question says, Naomi, you were on and then the quarter came. I mean, you're saying that we cannot sustain ourselves for sure.
No,
we are constrained
not yet.
and we are not afloat. But you also mentioned that we need to go ahead. I mean, you also mentioned that we took some loans and some good chunk of money. You understand, for the bishop fence, and we talk about the issue of constructing, I don't know, guest house on the compounds and all that stuff and what have you. So some of the questions coming from the viewers is that over what period of time, I mean, are we going to pay back the loan? Have we started paying back the loan? And you know,
yeah. So thank you, and I tell you, we don't regret the action, and perception is the one killing all of us. It's just good for us to clearly understand the issues and will help our church instead of destroying ourselves by just going with what perceptions. I can tell you, Jerry, the day you are in Liberia, maybe, and especially with the leadership, the new leadership coming on now, get close to someone, one of the team members. They will determine the monthly operational cost. Don't connect with any old member of the team. Connect with one of the newest members of the team. And you will realize that even just the cost of this electricity that is here now, on a monthly basis now, is between 10 to 12,000. Years back, we were paying like 3 to 4,000, and we thought that was a challenge. If you read some of my reports, you'll be saying, oh, the biggest challenge is even my first report to executive to convention in 2014. If you were to read our report now, you're talking about electricity or fuel consumption being the highest challenge. Right now, we are spending close to 12,000. What is not helping us to take, if we are not establishing facilities, as I speak to you right now, the lady girl that was bringing the computer before, she was just setting up here in this conference. This is a Bishop's conference room, in fact, I'm speaking to you from. I can share the computer around and you can see around, and this is a Bishop's conference hall. As I speak to you, the hall beneath, we just had a wedding ceremony here, a reception, wedding reception. These are the little activities almost on a daily basis now that is even helping us. What if we are not even expanding that conference? So the 3 conference halls are the ones that even helping us now to just take care of some of the monthly or operational costs. And they will not realize what we have done, are hearing all of the criticism, the negative criticism that we have ever done the worst. But God knows. And you and myself are members, and I'm telling you, I will come on this platform as often as possible so that we will continue to discuss these issues. And after some months from now, yes, I know they are coming. So someone asked whether the loan has been paid. I tell you, there have been challenges with COVID and this, and we really expect that loan to be on here because we have been determined to pay back that loan. Months, sometimes we will not even go for salary. I'm telling you, we will let go our salaries just to pay that loan. As I speak to you, maybe according to the treasurer's record, I don't think we will owe more than 30,000 out of the 150,000 that we took the last loan. But I can tell you how much the challenge is. But when you heard me saying sustainability is possible, unless we are intentional, that's my word I use always, intentional to hurt ourselves and take some of the bold steps that we took here. I'm encouraging the new administration. Maybe you are talking about prospects. So I can start saying it now. Instead of carrying on criticism and thinking negative, continue with where you are starting. You haven't sat, you haven't truly assessed, you are still on the fence. Take the seat, determine all the facts are available to you. They know. I'm sitting here, I have most of the information. Ask the transition, even Reverend Payne that just spoke. Look, all available information, I'm piling on them every day. I'm piling on them. And I have not even completed. I have not concluded. I'm sending as much information as possible. Even as I'm out, I will continue to provide the necessary information that I have. But that's what I want to say. That yes, that person wants to know. We are almost done with the payment.
Okay, Abel will come in, but I just want to make an announcement, Abel, from our brother Moses B. Cole, one of our partners from ITV. Is stating that he would like all of us as viewers, and I'm going to follow as well from Freetown, ITV Liberia on Sunday for a live coverage of the coronation of the people elect Dictator Park Moore, as well as the dinner later. So wow, so now you guys going to have dinner.
Dinner. It will be a ball. And it will be in the conference room. So he will be showing you that room. We don't have to go to City Hall or any other area. We have our own hall that is going to be hosting us.
Thank you so much, says Naomi. I see Jerry freezing on me. That should be internet problem. But the issue of challenge cannot be overly emphasized. All of us live in Liberia, we know what we talk about. You need not to tell anybody. Years back, If you wait for 100 and 200 United States dollars, you know what it meant. That could
Thank you.
mean a lot for you.
Yes.
Today, if you walk in the shopping mall with 100 or 200 US dollars, you see the
Nothing.
difference. I was tempted once. I posted a plastic bag, and I posted 100 US dollar bill, and I said, "Where is the value of my money?" That was I just walked out of the supermarket with $100, and I didn't see anything. Individually, we are facing these challenges, and what much more about the national church,
Yeah.
where you have to burn electricity. In our little corners, we know what's happening when it comes to challenges we face. We are very cognizant of the challenges you guys are currently facing. And trust me, these challenges will even increase. There's a kind of a rapid increment as time goes by, right? But there was a concern here that got to do with the local resource base of the church, mainly looking at those assets and properties that we have. I know one will soon be given to the incoming bishop on 11th Street. We have another building on the 12th Street. We have a building to Congo Town where the ministerial complex is. We have property on Royal Field Highway. The concern people are raising is that what is the status of those properties in terms of rent? What kinds of agreement have you gone into? Because if somebody is saying, if you went above your time limit, say for instance, if you went into 5 years time of taking the rent from those properties, where would the new bishop start or the incoming leadership start in terms of human resource base, human resource, let's say local resource base? So would you mind commenting to this concern that coming on the platform?
Okay. Thank you. You asked about the Congo Town and the Tower Hill property or the Bishop E or retreat center. Congo Town, when we took over, you know that Action A was there. And around 2018, because of the same challenge, I mean, they had to move out because they would no longer afford the rent. So they had to move out to a smaller area. And our building stood there for more than 2 years. And we had to be paying security and all of that. So currently, as I speak to you, we have a medical institution there. And we had to come down even 3 times lower than what we were receiving from Action Aid. Why did we have to do that? It was better to receive that than the building standing there and we paying security and the building is even deteriorating. The bishop went to the extent of writing sackcloth to the church, all congregations, begging them, somebody needs to take this building because we are spending and the building is deteriorating. Can any of our auxiliaries, you ask the women, in fact, Bishop was like forcing the women to take over that building. Moral district women saw it or the national women, they just said that, I mean, it was too costly to even do any renovation before they could start anything. So we had to give it out. It may not have been the same cost, at the same cost, and that's the concern that some of them are raising. But he made an open appeal. And none of you, even if it is not yourself, none of you were able to identify, people. The only church member that came to talk business with us concerning that building was Tony Lavapla and his children. And the only reason why they did not get it because it was a proposal that was brought, something like partnership proposal, and we did not really see the possibility. We didn't understand that. So at least that building is now leased, and I think for 20 years. Then we have the Tower Hill, which is a Bishop E property. Abraham, you must know that since that building or those structures were constructed and finalized in 2010, we have never had occupants. Because you were here on the company, and I know you know. Because all of us that were here, in fact, all Lutherans know that our building had just been standing there. And all the many years, we have been paying securities, just living there, until just last year. First, we have some church organization, or church, in fact, Amazing Grace, I think, ministries, and they were paying like nothing. but at least it was better for them to occupy it than we pay security. So we allowed them to be there. Unfortunately, I think there was some harsh resistance by the community because of what they used to do. So they had to move out. And blessedly for us, because of the road project, we now have the Ministry of Public Works taking on that property, and they have done substantial improvement on it by the grace of God. I think they are even building some additional structures at their own cost. Again, we may, yes, thank you, Jerry. We may say maybe they cost not much, but we highly appreciate what God has done to allow the government, though getting the money is being a battle. They were able to pay the first year money, last year, even according to the contract, that money would have been paid, this year's money would have been paid since last year, because we purposely wrote like that so that we will not encounter the kind of challenges, because we were telling ourselves that government, so we said 2 years money will be paid at the signing of the contract. And they did it like they didn't understand that their lawyers went through it, but they were only able to pay them 1 year. We said, well, fine. Here is the second year. If they were going even with the wordings and saying we'll pay yearly, that money would have been paid since January. As I speak to you, we are speaking with them every day. We stay beyond them. Fasting we are not received for this year. But I'm still grateful, or we are grateful as leadership, that they are occupying that place and they are improving on it. Because we are certain no matter how long, we'll get the money from them. Yes.
So since Naomi, we kept you for a very long period of time, and we want to thank you for your patience, because it's almost going to 10. We don't want to keep you so late. So I'm going to give you just one question. You read it with your recommendation for the new bishop, and then also your closing comment, and then we can follow it. So the one question that I just want to give, everything else that we've been talking, you've been following the show. I'm very sure of that, and you listen to the recent nomination or selection of your replacement, and you were part of that committee. Do you stand by
Yes.
everything that committee did? Do you stand by everything that committee did? And you hold no apologies for anybody, for any mishap. Everything went on well, and you can defend that reputation anywhere.
Jerry, my dear, I want all of our members to know that the members of this committee should be trusted. I may not have the wealth of finances. I may not have it. What I'm grateful to God for, that He has been able to give to me, that I'm carrying from here, is the wealth of integrity. For the years that I worked for this church, that's the wealth that I'm going. I don't have bank account. We're talking about loan. I even have loan. I have been taking loans since I think 2015, since I've been here, carrying on different projects. Yeah, that's the country we live in. So as I speak to you, but what I want to tell you, Jerry, I mean, we were both with each other. You will not even know, because of the sake of confidentiality. I will not even tell you what we told ourselves as committee members. We went harshly with each other just to put integrity first. And it was all about admonishment. It was not like, you are seeing that in somebody. And, it's just that maybe the way you were expressing it, your friends say, oh no. But everything that we were expressing to each other was that our integrity was at stake. So everything we did there, and Jerry, you and I will not do, for example, I'm hearing about shortlisting. I mean, we are professionals. If you are one teacher, I'm one, Abel is one, and you and myself were to determine critically to come out with results, what you come out with, except where it is not reasonable to me. I may query, yes. But where people are saying, Jerry and myself, we have really decided Abel is our friend. We got to carry Abel because of X, Y, Z. Stop this, people. We are not doing well for ourselves. I mean, librarians are so crafty, and we are crafted to put this, false information together. Jerry, if we tap into the strength that we can think critically and put lies together, then we can think critically and put developmental ideas together and develop our church. These lies are destroying our church because it will only bring more wounds. If you see that, and somebody is saying, you, Jerry, and myself determined that because Abel is our friend, and so we just decided to say Abel is the one who carry. The other people there are people, they are not objects. And so the information going to those people, they will not take it lightly. It was not because of the sake of confidentiality. The results are going to come out in this public platform. But we can't do that. We will never do that. It is my conscience. It is our conscience. And you know why we were carrying all that? We have witnesses. The LDS human resource person, the human resource officer, was sitting there as witness. All she needed to do was to get a copy of the questions or the questionnaire so that she will follow how we are carrying all those questions and how each of us will give our story. She was supporting that process. And then Reverend Doa, who would have been one of the members, but because he did not participate in all of the processes, he could not really give questions. We said he was not giving questions. So all he was doing painfully was also to witness. Those are the two witnesses that we had sitting with us. And you will not believe it, Jerry. My conscience is so clear. And I saw God working in there. You know why? It was a measure that after the results, then we will see that what I have written is almost what Jerry has. And we are like saying, how? You don't know, Jerry, what we should do, what I would tell people, and let's respect, I want to respect those who sat. I don't want to discuss the interviewers. I don't want to discuss the applicants. All I can say to us is that let's strive. Knowledge, you and I know that only death can stop us from increasing our knowledge. Instead of self-gratification, boasting so much that we know, we are limiting ourselves. Instead of boasting so much of what I know, let me delve into here to know what I think I may not know. That's what I would say. That's just what I would say. But to answer your question, if I were to die now, God bring me back and he asked me what you did yesterday, I will answer the same thing. I have a staff who I have developed. If any person, the people who are talking right here, if any person was to be talking, that's the person I have developed. And I know how much he knows about the Lutheran Church in Liberia. I know how much he knows about that office. That's confidentiality, but I will talk a little about him. I know it's confidentiality. But you know why I was better? He didn't have to be the general secretary. The only reason why I got better with him was, and on one of the questions, the question for the person who made, I said, of the 5 candidates, you are the only one who answered all of your questions. I made a statement on my paper. Out of the 5, they all 4. I don't know whether they went to the same meeting, but that was one of the key questions. And they know I don't have to disclose that particular question. They know because it was there. It was not that Jerry doesn't know, Abel doesn't know. It was only there to test. If you say, I know Abel can write consent, no yet, I mean no Abel. But Jerry know Abel. I don't want no Abel's aptitude. So Abel should prove himself to Jerry and myself. I will not, if Abel does not answer that question, you don't expect me. That's where interpreter comes in. As much as I know you, Abel, if you did not answer that question, that's Naomi. I will not put it there because as my interpreter, that paper will be there for life and somebody could go and take that question and say, Naomi Pope 10% or 5% for Abel for this particular question when he did not write any response. And so, all those who are very, very smart but did not do what was required of them, I tell them it's part of the learning process, it's part of growth. In fact, do not take it as a weakness that like your life has ended. It just means that this was not a time. You still have more time. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Abel,
Yeah. I guess the GS have done a very good presentation and a very good closing comment. I am also hopeful that she will come back. There are a couple of issues. If we begin discussing, we may not end the night.
Yeah, we will not end. That's true.
We have to allow the
So,
GS to
I didn't even answer all of your questions about the institutions that but some will be written. I will share some with you people, through documentations.
Yes, we have to allow the GS to go. We have to allow followers as well to have a restful night for the Monday tomorrow. Relating to the issue of the selection, I think we got one of the best son of the LCL. I think the issues we've kind of raised have been that to be more transparent. If you tell me that this thing is on my right, for the issue of representative, you should be able to tell me that it is also, if you give me the right, you should also be able to show me the left, right? People who made it to the end, they have been online step by step. Those who didn't even make it from the beginning, we actually felt that they should also be online, and the reasons why they did not even make it, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal. Mr. X sent his application, we couldn't select it because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. We selected this person because of this, as is seen in the report. And anyway, that shouldn't create further debate for that. I guess you still have time to come. But we got one of the best. We got one of the best. The candidate in question, he's a good guy. We were inquiring about the procedures that led to that selection. But anyway,
and maybe I know time is fast spent, even though we will come back, but I can tell you the criteria. If we were not even reasonable, we were so reasonable to the point where we said, you will not just say because Abel did sociology, so we cannot accept his application. So number one, the short listing period, you have education. So if I was looking for BSc in business administration and Abel did not do it, if I feel sorry for Abel, I will give him 1. But actually, he does not qualify because he does not have education in that area. But if we went to maybe program management or experiencing program, and for Abel's write-up or experience, I'm seeing that he actually knows. I'm not going to deny you. I'm telling you that's the criteria we carry. And so. So there were several issues lined up, and you go to number 1, you check that person's CV and see what his expertise is or knowledge is in that particular area. You gave the grade that you determine. You go to the next, just like that, and that's how all of them were shortlisted. That's the shortlisting criteria, I'm telling you. And the rest of them, we have questionnaire, drawing. So when we interviewed them, face to face, that was the verbal part, and we had a written test that they will go similar questions, but in different forms. They go and do the test.
Thank you so much. We could talk more around this, but I think that there's some clarity. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, you guys. I will donate myself to you people for a while.
Yeah. So you got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff that you need. Even the incoming team, you still got another stuff that you need to. I know for the way you go in retirement, but you are not tired. So please, when they call you, please come back to assist. We need you. We need you.
Know I have told him that. All right. I have told convention, I have told executive council, I have told themselves. I'm available, I will come always, whenever the time is there.
Okay, I think today's show we will actually just call up. It will not end the normal way because our lead facilitator in Atlanta has some problem. Okay. So we will just individually, I think, sign up. Jerry, we pass everything over to you now to conclude this process.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you again, our illustrious guest, our dynamic big sister,
Thank you.
our ever potent. We miss you. We love you.
The
Somewhere in
adjectives,
those
do you
one year,
say?
love you. And we also want to thank our viewers for witnessing and following. Unfortunately, because of some technical issue and some emergency from our host, it became difficult for us to go through some of the technological issues. But we know we'll get it better next time. We hope to see all of us attending the coronation service of the bishop elect. We want to say, welcome to our bishop elect. We got a lot of issues to deal with. We need to work together, bring everybody on board, be very inclusive so that we can move this church. The church is our church, and only us
Yes.
as Lutheran can move
Yes.
this church forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.